Hey everyone, it's Megan. Today I am here to do my massive Christmas and December book haul. So I just got back and this is going to be the first of a series of a bunch of videos that I'm going to be putting out over the next week or two because, like an idiot, I didn't think that I would have time to film at my Christmas break, and so I didn't bring my camera with me, and that was a big mistake. I should have, because I totally had time, but anyway, I'm going to make up for it now. I have a total of 23 books to show you today, so let's begin. The first book that I wanted to show you from my Christmas portion is from my sister, and it is Chicken Soup with Rice by Maurice Sendak. She gave this to me and she said, I don't know, I'm sorry if this is too small. And I was like, no, this is the exact version that I wanted. It is the last Maurice Sendak book that I really want to get my hands on. Eventually I might collect his entire works, but for now, it's this adorable little book that I've loved since I was a little kid. Yeah, I just love Chicken Soup with Rice. The next book came from Matt, and it is The Nine Old Men, Lessons, Techniques, and Inspiration from Disney's Great Animators by Andreas Deja. This has a little story. We went to Toronto recently, and I saw this, and I became super excited because this just came out in August. It's like $50 on Amazon, and this was used for $25. It was in paperback, and later I realized it's because it's a friggin' ARC copy, which is amazing, but, you know, kind of a brick, and we already had too much weight going with us back to Halifax, so I didn't get it. And then at Christmas, Matt gave it to me, and I was so happy about it. It's just each man and their career, just like a profile of the characters that they've done. So I'm going to learn about who specifically did what character, even more than I do now. I'm so excited to have this. It's one of the biggest, most anticipated books of 2015, and I have it. Yay! The next three books came from one of my best friends, Chelsea, and she got me The Journals of Sylvia Plath with a foreword by Howard Hughes, and I read The Bell Jar this past year and really became intrigued with her and her work, so this is pretty cool. The next book I have here is Tender Buttons by Gertrude Stein. This is the first Gertrude Stein book I've ever owned, and I'm more curious about her and her work, so should be interesting. And the last book she gave me is this beautiful edition of Emma by Jane Austen. This is a stunning hardcover that I have seen before at Value Village, but just didn't pick up. And it's lovely. It's retro. Well, not really retro. I'd call it more vintage. Vintage kind of classic. The next three books I have here came from Matt's mom. It was extremely generous of her to give these to me. She took them right off my Amazon wish list. And the first one is Eats, Shoots, and Leaves by Lynn Truss. And this is basically the zero tolerance approach to punctuation, so it's going to help me with my writing quite a lot. It's a bestseller. It was a big hit, actually. Entertainment Weekly says Truss is William Sapphire crossed with John Cleese's Basil Fawlty. So I'm guessing that this is a comical approach to punctuation that will be entertaining at the same time as very educational. The next book she got me was 101 Secrets for Your 20s by Paul Angon. This is self-explanatory. On the back, there's a number of the secrets listed right there. And so I'm just going to look forward to keeping this probably by my bed and then just reading a little bit each night. And the final book that she got me is Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore by Robin Sloan. This I have wanted for quite a while, around a year or more, I would say, and it's a science fiction kind of fantasy about this 24-hour bookstore, and apparently there's this, I don't know, organization, group, nefarious stuff going on in a secret panel behind the stacks or something. I don't know too much, and that's how I like it. And these last 6 books that I got for Christmas came in one way or another from my grandmother, and the first book that she got me was Hollywood Frame by Frame, The Unseen Silver Screen in Contact Sheets from 1951 to 1997 by Karina Longworth. I was shocked when I pulled this out. I really didn't think that I would actually receive it as a present, but it was on my Amazon wish list as well. And as you can see, it is this beautiful book of different production stills from classic movies, just sort of what's going on behind the scenes and how the actors look and stuff like that, and it's so cool. This was written by this woman who I've mentioned in my movie-related videos. She does a podcast called You Must Remember This that talks about old Hollywood and the people within it, and it's my favorite podcast. It's pretty much the only one I listen to, and I listen to it religiously. So this is a book that the lady who does the podcast wrote, and I'm so excited to have this. The last 5 books that she got me were through gift cards. They are the books that I got as a result of gift cards, and the first of these was We Should All Be Feminists by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I'm sorry if I cannot pronounce that, but this is a short, tiny little book. It took me around 40 minutes to read. I've already read it. And it's self-explanatory. It is the not necessarily condensed, but somewhat condensed and written format of the TED Talk that this lady gave a few years ago, around 2012, I want to say. I'll link that TED Talk down below, actually. It's so good. I loved it, and I was happy to get her speech, essentially, in this little book. There's so many things. I'm going to end up rereading it and extracting quotes from it because there's so many that apply to us today. The next book that I got was The Big Sleep by Raymond Chandler. This is a noir crime book. I love the film version with Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall from the 1940s so very much, and I watched that a bunch of times before reading this. And I read it years ago, and I liked it, but I didn't love it, but I want to give it another go. And this copy was only like $5 on clearance of chapters. So yeah, it's about this detective, Philip Marlowe, I believe, and he's working on a case for this rich man who has 2 daughters who got problems. Yeah, really good. And the next book I picked up, excitedly so, was The Heart of Betrayal by Mary E. Pearson. This is the second book in the Remnant Chronicles. I have the first book, The Kiss of Deception, and I've long since wanted to read it because it was extremely huge on BookTube a year ago. And this book has gotten almost equally high praise. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading those 2 this year. The third book comes out this year, so I want to read them kind of as close together as possible so that I don't forget any of the characters and so that I can sort of keep the hype going for myself because I'm pretty sure that I'm going to love it. If you haven't read The Kiss of Deception, it is about this girl, Princess Leia, who does not want to marry this boy, this prince, in an arranged marriage, and so she runs away, and an assassin is sent to kill her, and it goes from the 3 perspectives of the prince, this princess, and the assassin, and between the prince and the assassin, you're not sure who is who, which is a very interesting plot device. And the second last book that I got was Seconds by Brian Lee O'Malley. This is definitely one of my favorite books of 2015. It is a graphic novel, and if you don't know, Brian Lee O'Malley is the same guy who wrote Scott Pilgrim series. This is the first work that I ever read by him, and the artwork is stunning, and the story is wonderful. It's about this girl, Katie, who owns a restaurant. She's in the process of getting a second one, but things aren't going all that well in her life, not perfectly, and she finds this magic mushroom with this little notebook that says, like, basically, write down your wish, eat a mushroom, fall asleep, begin anew the next day. And so she does it. It works. She's enthralled with how much it changed her life, and it seemed to change her life for the better, and she was happy about that. But then things start to go wrong again, and she realizes that there is a sort of field of mushrooms buried in her basement. And so how can you resist the temptation for that? And it's really awesome, awesome book. I reread it over the break because I just couldn't wait to reread it again. Love it. And the last book she sort of got me was through a Walmart gift card that I purchased this book, and it is the Disney book, A Celebration of the World of Disney. Normally I don't pick up kind of almost kiddie because of the DK. I don't usually pick up books like this, especially anymore. But I flipped through this, and the different sections and stuff that they have, that they talk about, actually looks like stuff that I don't know about Disney, which is big for me. But like this and the 9 Old Men and the Hollywood Frame by Frame, they're pretty much coffee table books that I won't be able to take with me everywhere unless I really want to, but I might look a little ridiculous reading them on the bus, so I will probably have them as my bedtime reading and keep them by my bed, but I'm really excited about that, so it'll make me even more excited at nighttime to go and read in bed. So yeah, this is exciting. Okay, those were the amazing Christmas presents. Thank you so much again to everybody who gave them to me. And for the last part of this haul, I shall show you what the books I acquired over the late November, December time. The first of these I'll mention is 10,000 Skies Above You by Claudia Gray. I tried to hold out and wait until Christmas to possibly get this from somebody, but I just couldn't wait anymore. It is the second book in the Firebird trilogy by Claudia Gray, and I love it so much. The first book, 1,000 Pieces of You, I gobbled in like 2 days, and this book is a bit thicker, which I love. So the basic premise of it in the first book is that this girl, Marguerite, she has these scientific parents who have invented a device that allows them to travel through countless different dimensions, which propose different variations of their lives, like with some similarities, but there's like massive changes politically in the worlds that they inhabit, just very, very different. And the next book that I got is Winter by Marissa Meyer. This is the fourth and final book in the Lunar Chronicles series. It just came out like not even a month ago, and it follows Snow White. Now, if you're not familiar with the Lunar Chronicles, they are fairy tale retellings. Like, for example, the first book is Cinder, based on Cinderella. Next one, Scarlet, based on Little Red Riding Hood. Cress, of course, is Rapunzel. And Fairest is a almost novella, not short enough quite to be a novella, but it's telling basically the story of the wicked stepmother, the queen. And so this is the conclusion of that, and it's based off Snow White, like I said, and it was so amazing. It was over 800 pages long, and I guess it was long awaited, but fortunately I started the series late enough that I didn't have to wait too long between the Fairest and this book. But it was amazing. I'm going to talk about it more in my November or December wrap-up. The next three books I got when Matt and I went on that trip to Toronto that I was mentioning earlier. And the first book I got was Toy Story, a critical reading. This is from a part of a series by BFI, British Film Institute, film classics. I have their book for Spirited Away already, but they have so many books that I want to get my hands on. But this is just a critical reading, kind of an analysis of Toy Story, like its production and the background of it and everything. And I got this at the TIFF, Toronto International Film Festival library, well, Lightbox gift shop, and I was really excited to find it. These next two books I got from the same bookshop where that Nine Old Men book came from, and the first one is A Wild Swan and Other Tales by Michael Cunningham. Michael Cunningham wrote The Hours, which was adapted into an amazing film in the early 2000s starring Meryl Streep, Nicole Kidman, and Julianne Moore. But I'm excited. I was excited to get a hold of this because I had seen this hauled on Jen Campbell's channel, and it is a very beautiful book, as you can see, based on the illustrious cover. And it is a group of short, at times very short actually, fairy tale retellings. I wound up reading this, like I couldn't wait, and so I went on the train and dug it out of my luggage in the back because I just couldn't wait to read it, and I read it in less than 12 hours, I think, and it was so good. That again will be in my December wrap-up. And the last book that I got from there was How to Build a Girl by Caitlin Moran. I have wanted this book for such a long time, so I was so excited to come across this in the used bookstore in absolutely perfect condition. It's 1990. Joanna Morrigan, 14, has shamed herself so badly on local TV that she decides there's no point in being Joanna anymore and reinvents herself as Dolly Wilde, fast-talking, hard-drinking gothic hero and full-time lady sex adventure. She will save her poverty-stricken bohemian family by becoming a writer, like Jo in Little Women or the Brontes, but without the dying young bit. This is great. I haven't seen it too much on BookTube, but it was highly acclaimed when it first came out. It was just everywhere, and I wanted it but found it too expensive. But this was for the perfect price, and I'm so excited to read it. These next couple of books came from Value Village, and the first one is The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. I've never owned a copy before, and I read this over the past year and didn't like it too much, but I still have yet to read 9 Stories and Franny and Zooey by him, and I have these two originally in this lovely edition, and I decided to complete it by having all 3 in this really nice modern kind of retro type design. Love it. And the other book from Value Village is this copy of Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I was intrigued because the cover is creepy. It's really pretty creepy for the story. It's about this lady who marries this rich man, a widow, and she goes to move into his house, and apparently everybody in the house was obsessed with his late wife and can't stop talking about how beautiful and amazing she was. And so this lady feels rather dwarfed and stuff by her, and plus her new husband acts mysterious, and she starts to wonder if he had anything to do with her untimely demise. I've never read this before, but I know the story from watching the amazing Alfred Hitchcock release of Rebecca from around 1940, starring Joan Fontaine and Maurice Chevalier. And there was another book that I brought at a Toronto chapters, and it is Kenny in the Dragon by Tony DiTerlizzi. This is the guy who wrote the Search for Wandla trilogy and the Spiderwick Chronicles. I love his writing, but more importantly, I love his illustrations. They are so whimsical and sweet, and I love how they look. And I read this story last year and really enjoyed it. It's basically about this rabbit who loves to read, and he befriends a friendly dragon, but the townsfolk don't understand and think that he's vicious and gonna eat them all. So there's a plot to take down the dragon, and it's a story of him saving him, and it's just a wonderful middle grade story. Okay, we've come to the end of this ridiculously long book haul, and I got this at Costco just the other day and was so excited to find it. It is Enchanted Forest by Joanna Bosford. This is the second to last coloring book that she's released. The last one was Lost Ocean, which I also have, so I'm only missing The Secret Garden by her, which I hope to have someday. But this one, stunning. I was so excited to find this. Absolutely beautiful and magical, and just makes you feel good about life in general. Alrighty guys, that was my super intense Christmas and December book haul. Let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them, or which ones I should be excited about reading. And that's all for this video today. I shall see you soon with the next ones that are coming up, and I hope you're having a great week. Bye everyone!